startups and learn something, right? So my journey in startups started in the first term of my MBA, and I've never stopped working with startups. So post 2010, including the 2 years in MBA, I continued to work with startups, about 25, 30 startups. And in 2014, my wife, she's from Coimbatore, so I went to Coimbatore for my wife's delivery, and I got delivered to Coimbatore, right? And which is where this started, right? So I met this great guy, Shankar Vanarai, who runs the Kumruguru College of Technology, and he said, well, let's do this, right? So that's where the journey started. So, in case you figured out my A's in my name, 8 A's in my name, right? So, I'm the co-founder and vice president of Coimbatore Innovation and Business Incubator. Forge is an accelerator brand that we've launched. This is based in Coimbatore. We have a 10,000 square feet hub called Forge Factory, in which we have all the facilities for prototyping, infra and resources, co-working, shared facilities, and all of those things. Primarily, we are an accelerator and a fund. The reason I wanted to spend some time talking about Forge is to share with you, institution management and chairpersons and principals, my journey so far, and some of the things I've learned, and I thought it may be useful for you to look and consider some of those things as well, as you plan to set up your incubator. So this is a quick collage of the work that's happened in the last 1 year. So 2016 was the first full year of our operation. So we got hackathons, we got different startup events, we had boot camps run in different parts of the country. So a lot of work happened. Our core in terms of what we want to do is basically foster innovation-led new age enterprises that combine technology with the timeless business potential of many of the sectors that represent huge growth opportunities in a country like India. So when it comes to tech, we look at the intersection of hardware and software technologies. We find opportunities to solve real-world problems at scale. So we're talking about connected devices, industrial internet, and digital businesses. When it comes to the business part of it, we're looking at these 6 sectors, each of which has a huge presence in Coimbatore, right? All right, so our programs, going from ideas to enterprises, we look at it in 3 stages, right? So the first is idea to prototype. So we call it the Forge Fellows program, followed by an entrepreneur in residence program, which is called Forge First, and then followed by an accelerator program, which is called Forge Fast. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the details. Some of you may have gotten our set of information sort of dockets. Please do look them up for more details about Forge. I'll skip this. I'm going to skip all of this and then go straight here. Yeah. So this year, straight off in 2017 January, under the aegis of EDI Tamil Nadu, we're doing this statewide program called the Startup Activation Program. Right? So the idea really is to go into about 180 institutions in Tamil Nadu and actually look for ideas among students that can potentially become products in businesses and enterprises. Right? So this is something we've started, and this is how the program is going to sort of pan out. So we started this on the 1st of February. We've been going around doing a bunch of these startup 101 seminars and webinars, and we've also now sort of gotten into a half-a-day session called Idea Camps, because we've figured out that many of the students are not applying, right? And they're a little hesitant. They're saying, well, what if my idea gets rejected? What if somebody looks down upon my idea, right? So we said, let's go and actually start talking to them, right? So we do these Startup 101 seminars followed by the Idea Camp, and the idea is to then bring, a whole bunch of ideas, take them through different stages of filtering, and then bring it all the way down to a boot camp and a demo day. And the top 3 ideas, we will, take them as part of our Forge Fellows program. We'll give them a startup grant of up to, a prototyping grant of up to, let's say, 5 lakhs. And we'll hope that they will take that up and convert their prototype into a product and get started with their journey. So many Startup 101 seminars in different cities. 75 plus institutions have sent their students over. They've helped us post. 1,000 plus students have participated, and so far we have about 125 ideas that have come on our portal. Right? what is the purpose behind doing this Startup 101 seminars? We want to create actionable awareness, right? And what do I mean by this actionable awareness? Is to help these students understand that the journey from an idea to an enterprise to a business is essentially these 4 Ps. So gone are the days of the 4 Ps of marketing, right? I barely listened to a few things that was taught in my marketing lecture. One thing I know is there are the 4 Ps of marketing, right? I don't care much about that, but I know there are the 4 Ps of startups, right? So start with the problem statement, find a problem statement that is worth solving, build a solution, and see if you can test and show that yes, this is working, and then see if you can productize that prototype into a generic product so that any customer, any user that has to solve that problem, wants to solve that problem, can use your solution. That's when it becomes a product, and then you sell it, you get revenues, and then you're on the way to achieving profits, right? Now, when we tell this to students, what we also wanted them to understand is why is this important during the engineering education, right? It's because you learn skills. I'm sorry about the color coordination of this slide. So when you're going from problem to prototype, you're learning very important technical skills, right? Now we've heard some of our very distinguished members, chief guests, talk about the headwinds we're seeing when it comes to hiring in the IT industry, right? So we're talking about, is it going to be easy for us to get, for students to get their first job, right? I'm actually pushing that envelope a little more, and I'm saying, well, one thing is to get a job. Can you keep that for even 5 years, right? Now, what's the guarantee that you're going to keep your job for 5 years, right? This employment unto retirement is no longer the case, yeah? So, not only technical skills, but if you can think in terms of going from a prototype to a product and learning design and innovation skills, and then going from product to profit in terms of learning business skills, this is extremely important, right? Today, the large, mid-sized to large-sized enterprises, whether they're in India, whether they're Indian-based companies or they're subsidiaries of multinationals, they're all having this problem. One big problem. Their internal idea, new product pipelines are running dry. There is more water in Siruvani and Coimbatore, right? Their internal idea pipelines are running dry. Why? You don't have intrapreneurs, right? People who just don't know how you go about taking a problem and converting that into a potential new business for the enterprise, right? So picking up these skills is very important. So we're trying to sort of use this Startup 101 seminars to help these students understand that there is real, short-term benefit from taking up some of these opportunities, right? Your employability just soars through the roofs if you can do this. And what did we learn? And that's what Mr. Rajaraman wanted me to share with you in these 3.5, 4 weeks of having done this. What did we learn? And something very interesting is already hitting us, right? So this is one question in a questionnaire that I've given to each one of these students, and over 600 students have given us their responses, right? So what we're trying to do with this question is to understand the students' context very clearly. So I'm going to step aside, right? And I want you to look at each of these 6 options, and I want you to tell me which option do you think will have been the highest in the responses received, right? So take a quick 10 seconds to just read through these 6 options and tell me which one do you think will have had the highest response.
5. Second last.
5.
Second last.
5.
Third.
Number 3. 2. 1. 3. 5. 4. Anybody saying 7? Just in case, I just want to check. All right. So yeah. So I'll sort of give this, the results in 2 increments. Right. So the first thing is this: 80% of them have expressed intent. What is that intent? It maps to the last 3 options. Right? So the first 3 options are clearly, just leave me alone. Right? Don't bother me. Get the heck out of this place. right? The last three options, I have intent. So approximately 80% are saying, yes, I want to be a part of this program. I want to apply, right? And then the second more interesting thing is, out of this 80%, 40% are saying, give me problems. I don't know how to come up with an idea. That's exactly what they're saying, right? I don't know how to come up with an idea, but I really like what you're saying. If you can give me problems, if you can help me develop my idea, I'm up for it. Right? So, high expression of intent from students. 80%. It's very interesting for us. Yeah. Alright. So now just go back to in time to when we were, sort of late teens and early 20s, and we wanted to increase our dating success. Right? I'm just giving you a few seconds to go back in time because there's a lot of time to go back, right? Yeah, so go back in time and look at how you would want to have increased your dating success. Will you ask this question or this question? Will your dating success go up if you said, will you marry me? Or will your dating success go up if you said, will you come to dinner with me? Yeah, clearly. Thank you, sir. Right? So just keep this in mind. Just keep this in mind, right? Before I go on to the next one. Yeah? So how do you increase student entrepreneurship success? Right? Okay. Now what we do, we break it down into these 5 stages, right? So going from idea to enterprises, this is how the world has always seen this happen, right? So idea, prototype, product, business, and an enterprise gets created, and then you're building it and growing it, and so on and so forth, right? So what we're actually asking them to do is this. Do you want to become an entrepreneur? That's the question we're asking, right? Which essentially, in the mind of the student, is like this. You're asking him to take a big leap of faith. Do you want to become an entrepreneur? Right? Now go back to the dating success analogy, right? So can we ask this question? Do you want to become a problem solver? Right? This will get you a date. So what did we do? We're breaking it down into 2 stages. So you're a problem solver when you're taking up an idea and you're going to prototype, and let the prototype outcome decide whether he wants to become an entrepreneur. So usually what happens today, and I've seen this in the last 1 month, people submit their ideas. And I'm tuned to looking at ideas with a certain sense of cynicism, right? Investors are skeptical optimists, right? So I'm basically putting a very high bar for someone who comes with an idea, right? If I can take that out and then say, hey, fine, let's just build a prototype, right? And once the prototype comes, and in that process of building the prototype, he's going to learn a lot of things. The student, boy or girl, is going to learn a lot of things. They're going to validate, they're going to understand, discover the customer, they're going to try something is going to fail. We heard so much about failures being very important. When that happens, when the prototype is out, let's then ask the question, hey, do you want to now take this up and make this into a product, into a business, right? So what are we doing? Right? Based on the learning what we're doing. Can we make prototyping an end in itself? Right? So for that, show me the problems. This is the question the student is asking us back. Show me the problems. Right? So what did we decide to do in Forge? We launched this initiative called Sandbox at Forge. Right? So it's a massive crowdsourcing initiative, and I was very happy to hear about the great work AICTE is doing when it comes to smart cities. The hackathon, when you said there were about 598 problems that came up in maybe a few days or something like that. It's very heartening for me to know that if that's how the success can be, then I'm really confident we can open it up for more and more sectors. We're already talking to Intel, we're talking to Bosch, we're talking to the Agricultural University in Coimbatore, we're talking to a whole bunch of other investors, corporates, researchers. We're also talking to institutions, right? Go back and tell your researchers and scientists to give us problem statements. So what do? We do this thing called a think tank. So we're going to invite experts on a particular topic and say, hey, in 6 hours, can we sit down and discuss your problem statements and come up with problem briefs? Something a student, something a young professional can understand. and then say, hey, no, that's something I want to build a prototype for, right? So that coupled with how we want to relaunch this Forge Fellows, right? So we're thinking about a concept called a prototyping semester. And I'm just sort of, not even soft launching it, I'm just sort of whispering it very softly here, right? Because I want feedback from each one of you, yeah? We're calling it a prototyping semester. Now what is it? Anywhere from the 4th all the way to the 8th semester, a student takes 1 semester out only to prototype, right? And we will manage that in Forge, right? So the process is we're going to run these idea camps, and people will come up with prototype briefs, right? And then we will have some, like a hackathon to select the top 50, applications, and then from the top 50 we'll select the top 25 hacks, and we'll put them through a 4-month course. We will completely manage that course. Right? And at the end of the day, at the end of the course, we'll have a demo day where the assessment will happen. And we want to be able to give credits for this prototyping activity. Right? And we want to get this started coming semester. We don't have all the time. Right? So we will be building the curriculum, when it comes to each of these problem statements, the prototypes. We will match each student, and this is not teams, this is student, right? Each student gets mapped to a mentor or an expert, right? Who will decide, hey, here are all the courses that you need to now go. Let's say an automobile engineering student wants to do something in robotics, right? You may have to go and take electives in the mechatronics department, right? So those are very selective, courses that he or she will have to do, keeping in mind that these concepts are extremely critical for the prototyping activity, right? And in addition, we will give them in-depth training when it comes to using hardware, software, prototyping techniques and tools, design thinking, innovation methodologies, all of those sort of base skill sets we will from Forge offer, right? So what I'm looking for from each of you is, tell me about your intent to do this. Right? Tell me about the challenges that you foresee. If I were to come and pitch this, think of it as I'm doing a pitch for prototyping semester. I want to sell it to you. Right? Tell me about the challenges that you will face, and I'll see if I can solve that on your behalf. Tell me about your experience of having tried something already. Right? And tell me about how you want to partner with Coach. That's my email ID, that's my number. Thank you so much.
As we have gone to dating and marriage, I used to recall only one thing.